Okay, this is my persuasive speech for Unit 8 and Introduction to Public Speaking. Here's my audience. This is my mom, my son Cade, my son Cohen, brother Lawson, sister Eden, who's behind the camera, BB, my wife Ashley, and my dad. I'm beginning my persuasive speech now. This is going to be a persuasive speech on what I believe to be the best movie ever, Remember the Titans. My goal will be to persuade my audience that Remember the Titans is in fact the best movie ever. I want to begin with one of the best scenes in the movie, probably my favorite scene. I don't want to get too much into the plot of the movie, but just to give a little context to the scene, this movie is about a football team that is extremely divided and going through turmoil and chaos, and they come together. Well, kind of in the middle of the movie, one of the landmark events that takes place is the coach takes the team to this college that's a few hours away from the high school where the team is located, the team plays. And it's like summer training camp. And so for a week or two, they go to this college, and all they do is they eat, sleep, and they practice. Well, the team is in turmoil, it's in chaos, they're not getting along, they're not coming together. And there's this one moment where the coach wakes the team up in the middle of the night, and they go on a few mile jog. They're going to the woods, everybody's mad, they're upset, they're not getting along. And on top of that, they're up in the middle of the night. And he takes them to this graveyard in the middle of the woods. Well, this graveyard famously signifies the men who died in the Battle of Gettysburg. And he walks them through how the same battle that they're fighting, which we're going to talk more about in this speech, is the same battle that those men fought, but in a different way. They fought with their blood and their lives. They go back to where they're sleeping, and they get the next day and they practice, but they're still in turmoil. Well, there's this breakthrough moment in practice where the two unquestioned leaders of the team, Gary Bertier, who's the middle linebacker, and Julius Campbell, who's the defensive end, they have this breakthrough moment in practice where they come together. And they put aside their differences and they rally together, which in turn, as the leaders of the team, rallies the whole team. And it's the turning point in the movie where the team comes together, they go back to the high school, and it not only unifies the team, but it literally unifies a school in the entire county, and it ripples throughout the rest of the United States. Well, Remember the Titans is the best movie ever because of three things. One, it's a powerful story. Secondly, it's a true story. And thirdly, something I believe is very important is the quality of actors within the movie. Being a movie buff myself, I love watching all kinds of movies, different kinds of movies. Another football movie I love is We Are Marshall. I love the movie The Patriot. I even love the movie The Notebook, which is a chick flick, but I love that movie. But there's few movies I like Remember the Titans. This movie is packed with an unbelievably important message. This was during a time in our country where segregation was taking place, and the blacks and whites were beginning to be integrated together. And the movie addresses the racial prejudices that are going on, especially in this high school and especially in this county. And as these black and these white students are integrated together, to begin with, they hate each other. And there's mass chaos going on in the school and going on in the country. But although the movie is centered around this school and this football team, it's going on all across the county. Well, the football team becomes the point of controversy in the town. Because the black and the white players are forced to play together. But to make matters even worse, there was this legendary, famous head coach, Coach Yost, who was a white man, who was the longtime head football coach at the local high school. With this new high school, T.C. Williams, that was created, that brought the white school and the black school together, everybody thought he was going to get the job. He was going to be the head football coach. Well, they bring in Coach Herman Boone. He's the protagonist of the movie. We're going to talk about more about him in a moment. He's played by Denzel Washington. Well, they elect him as the new head coach, and the white crowd is rioting, and the black crowd loves it. Well, it does nothing but divide the town and the school more. But again, this movie is about this football team, which in turn affects the school, which in turn affects the county, which in turn ripple effects throughout the entire country. They come together. That's the meaning and the power behind the story. But as inspiring as this story is, one of the coolest things is that it's actually a true story. This story took place in Alexandria, Virginia in 1971. T.C. Williams High School actually still exists today, but T.C. Williams was actually a famous segregationist. And so in 2021, the school was renamed to Alexandria City High School, not wanting to honor the late life of a segregationist who would have been in favor of the whites and the blacks being segregated. Some of the well-known figures in this movie who are as follows are Herman Boone, who was the black head coach that came into the community, Bill Yost, who became his associate head coach, who was the former head coach. Gary Bertier, who was the middle linebacker, who was actually injured in that movie and was in a wheelchair the rest of his life. Julius Campbell, the defensive end, the black defensive end, who Gary, the white middle linebacker, Julius Campbell, the black defensive end, the leaders of the team that came together, and then Ronnie Bass, the famous quarterback who moved from California to Virginia and anchored the team when the black quarterback who was starting went down. The 1971 season, which is actually famously documented in this movie, was they won the state championship. They won the state championship in that year. That was a real event. It really took place. It's a true story. But lastly, I'll make remarks on the all-star lineup of actors in this movie. In my personal opinion, this movie is absolutely, without a doubt, anchored by Denzel Washington. He is the headliner in this movie. He famously plays Coach Boone, who's the protagonist in the movie. He's the main character. And I just really believe if you were to take him out of the movie, this movie wouldn't have had half the traction that it did in the box office in our country, and now literally almost 45 years later. His counterpart was played by Will Patton, who plays Bill Yost, who also, I would say, had a stellar performance in the movie, but pales in comparison to the effects that I believe Denzel Washington had on this movie. In conclusion, I first discussed the movie's powerful message, how this football team came together and really defeated the racial segregation that was going on in this town, and not only affected the football team, but the school and the county. Secondly, I discussed the movie's true nature. It's a real story. And finally, I discussed the quality of actors in the movie. Denzel Washington, Will Patton, and others who made this movie what it is. Remember the Titans, in my opinion, is the best movie ever because of its powerful message, its true story, and its quality actors. In conclusion, I would highly recommend to anybody considering watching it, and you should keep a box of tissues ready. Thank you for watching my speech.
Hear, hear.